Party people and the place to be. So I had a sparkling water. I'm gonna start burping. Prepping the stream. Prepping. I have to type. I'm live now. Game Now Film is live, guys. Live now, talking about part four. Continuing the drugs is a lie series. This is part 4. Bam. Alright, so posted to X. And I'm posting to Blue Sky. 1 second, please. We will begin the stream. What's up, man? Happy Friday. Have a great start to your weekend. You can kick it off with me right here, right now. Continuing on the war on drugs. Part 4. Alright, I posted to Blue Sky, posted to X. Alright. Let's see here. Boom, boom. Howdy, y'all. So, welcome. Game Not Film here live. Pew, pew, pew. So, I've been talking about the war on drugs, guys. This is like one of my favorite college courses was the Latin drug wars in America, and it really opened up my eyes on how corrupt the U.S. government is. And I'm going to be reading from these pack of cards, a deck of 36 cards. We're going to be reading 16 through 20 tonight. And if this is your first time joining, guys, the war on drugs is a complete scam. It's rooted in racism. It's just there to destroy the working class neighborhoods, especially people of color, black people. The CIA floods the streets pretty much all over the globe, not just the United States, but all over the globe, guys. They trade guns, arms, money with the most wretched right-wing people to basically kill anybody on the left, anybody that cuts into corporate profits. That's what the CIA, covert ops, the U.S. government does. And what else I want to talk about? I think that's kind of it. Also, the war on drugs, guys. Drugs are more readily available than ever. The prices are cheaper than ever. The quality is up. So it's doing the exact opposite of what should be happening with the war on drugs. And more money to the police, military, DEA gets militarized, etc. So that's not feeding our communities, is it? That's not going towards education, infrastructure, etc. So there you go. And I do not vote Democrat or Republican. The two-party system's a lie. Both parties are complicit in that. As far as they're not going to do shit to stop the war on drugs, guys. So just letting you know that, how I feel about the two-party system. All right. So let's start off. Let's continue with these war on drug trading cards. Let's talk about this is 16, number 16 from the deck, titled Pan Am Flight 103. And the back is titled Death Over Lockerbie. So, investigations into who placed plastic explosives, I got spit in my mouth, on Pan Am Flight 103, which blew up over Lockerbie, Scotland on December 21st, 1988, killing all 259 people on board, are still ongoing, but the tragedy is widely thought to have been a terrorist attack on a U.S. target. At various times, stories have surfaced implicating Syria's President Assad, Libya's Colonel Gaddafi, Iran's Ayatollah Khomeini, and Palestinian terrorist Ahmed Jibril. In 1990, the DEA looked into claims that one of its agents had smuggled explosive aboard, believing it to be a heroin shipment, part of an undercover sting operation. Interfer, an anti-terrorist consulting firm which undertook an investigation for Pan Am's insurance carrier, concluded that the CIA was warned that a bomb had possibly been loaded onto the plane in Frankfurt, Germany, but allowed the flight to continue to protect a heroin shipment by Mansour al-Qassar, a Syrian arms and drug smuggler who had successfully negotiated in May 1988 swap of arms for French hostages. Al-Qassar had earlier received 1.5 million from Iran-Contra figures Richard Secord and Albert Hakim for providing 100 tons of arms for the Contras. The Interfer report named Army Major Charles McKee as heading an 8-member CIA team in Beirut who, while trying to gain release of U.S. hostages, had uncovered other CIA agents protecting Al-Qassar's drug pipeline in hopes that he would aid them. McKee's team planned to bring back evidence back to the U.S. to inform the government and to publicize their findings if the government covered it up. At least 5 and possibly all 8 of McKee's team were aboard Flight 103 when it crashed. Damn! So, this guy had dirt on the CIA dealing drugs, guys, and they wasted a plane. 259 people on board this plane, guys. Look it up. Pan Am Flight 103. Woo! You got some key figures I talked about in part 3 stream, guys. Richard Secord, he's the man flying all those he was the guy flying all the planes in Southeast Asia, guys. And they treat him like a war hero or some shit. Richard Secord, look him up. Alright, that was number 16, guys. So, let's start number 17, and I just want to say about the last card, guys. CIA absolutely ruthless, man. You try and call them out, you try and expose them, kill an entire plane. Don't give a damn. So, all right, number 17 is titled Dick Helms, Tim Leary. This is number 17. The back is titled LSD in the CIA. Guys, we've talked about cocaine, crack cocaine. We've talked about heroin, opium. As far as we talked about cigarettes, alcohol, bootlegging. This is the first time we've talked about LSD on this channel. Let's see what this says on the back. Here we go. In 1952, the CIA began mind control experiments under the codename MK Ultra. The project, brainchild of Richard Helms, included dosing unsuspecting Americans with LSD. Some were permanently disabled, but the experiments continued for 12 years, by which time Helms ran the CIA's Dirty Tricks Department. While Helms was CIA director, 1966 to 1973, the agency mounted a massive campaign to discredit the anti-war movement. Helms destroyed most MKUltra documents in 1973, so it's hard to know if the huge increase in LSD supply during his tenure was a CIA covert action. But a close look at acid guru Timothy Leary, whose turn on, tune in, drop out motto was antithetical to the New Left, raises questions. Leary's patron from 1963 to 69 was stockbroker Billy Mellon Hitchcock, a scion of the wealthy Mellon family. Hitchcock invested drug profits from the Brotherhood of Eternal Love, a Leary-connected LSD-dealing motorcycle gang in mob-linked Resorts International and at the Bahamian-based Castle Bank, a CIA mafia money laundry. From 1969 to 1971, with Leary's blessing, Ronald Stark supplied 50 million doses of LSD to the Brotherhood, the motorcycle gang. The gang was busted in 1971, but by then Stark was in Europe with their money. Jailed in Italy in 1975, he was released in 79 when the judge found a series of scrupulously enumerated proofs that Stark had been a CIA agent from 1960 onwards. Leary was jailed, escaped to Algeria, and linked up with alleged agent provocateur Eldridge Cleaver. He later returned home and served time. By the 1980s, he was touring the lecture circuit with Watergate burglar G. Gordon Liddy. That's pretty shady, man. So, guys, I understand, like, psychedelics, LSD, you're gonna expand your mind, you're gonna open your third eye and trip out or whatever. But, guys, Vietnam War, a lot of anti-war activists going ham A lot of people got up into the streets. How do you get the people distracted from the Vietnam War? You flood the streets with psychedelics and like flower power, trip out, tune in, drop out, or whatever that shit's called. That shit was all CIA, man. Mind control. Fucking don't relax. Go smoke pot. Go trip out. Don't worry about the Vietnam War. In my opinion, that shit was all a psyop, guys. All that shit. So, I mean, I'm sure LSD, like compared to freaking like heroin or cocaine, okay, maybe it doesn't destroy your body, but it's still a distraction in my opinion. And yeah, don't really care. I did try LSD one time when I was in California, so it was pretty trippy, I'll say that, but I don't want to talk about that right now. Maybe when we wrap it up, we can talk about drug experiences or something, but anywho, alright, my cat is. Stop it. God. She's tearing at a plastic bag. Anyways, number 18 in the Drug Wars trading card deck. The Pope's Banker. This is the first time we're talking about the church, popes, guys. Titled on the back, Scandal in the Vatican. Let's read. In the early 1970s, the Banco Ambrosiano of Milan, Italy was reorganized by Robert Calvi and Michel Sindona, loyal members of Propaganda Due, P2, an Italo-Argentine neo-fascist Masonic lodge, whose membership also included some of the most important political, military, and business leaders in post-war Italy and Argentina. Sindona was linked to both the CIA and the Italian mafia, so in addition to P2 funds, the bank also handled heroin profits deposited by Sicilian mobsters, CIA money for Italian anti-communists and P2 sponsored causes and political campaigns, and most dramatically, Vatican Bank funds later used by Calvi to purchase a series of Panamanian shell companies, which laundered cocaine dollars to finance P2 paramilitary dirty war activities in South America. The Vatican money was transferred to Calvi by the head of the Vatican Bank, Chicago-born Paul Marcinkus, Marcinkus, if you want to Google it yourself later, a bishop known as the Pope's Banker. While the Vatican later denied knowledge of this investment, Michel Sindona flatly stated that Marcinkus had been kept informed by Calvi all along, and the Vatican had been happy to embark on P2's new crusade. Calvi himself said nothing. As alluded to in Godfather 3, Robert Calvi's body was found hanging from Blackfriars Bridge in London in 1982. Marcinkus was indicted for his part in the bank scandal, but charges were dropped when Italian authorities found it impossible to extradite him from the Vatican. In 1992, former CIA contacts stated that the CIA had paid P2 leader Licio Gelli, mastermind of the 1980 Bologna train bombing, to foment terrorist activities in Italy. Gelli attended Ronald Reagan's first inaugural ball. That's Gelli. Okay, the first name Licio, last name Gelli. So, man, that's a story I've never heard about, guys. Um, so look, Google propaganda do, and they put in parentheses P2. Okay. Wow. I'm gonna Google that later, guys. Very cool stuff. All right, we've got two more cards to do, guys. Card number 19. Oh, my cat is going ape shit. She's got the zoomies. All right, number 19 is titled Klaus Barbie in the Finances of Death. Fiancés. Number 19 on the back titled The Bolivian Cocaine Coup. All right, let's take a look at the back. Let's read. The 1980 Bolivian cocaine coup was financed by wealthy ranchers and drug lords under Roberto Suarez Gomez, a former cattleman who had become Bolivia's top cocaine baron. His cousin, Colonel Luis Arce Gomez, was the coup's most important military contact. The two men gave General Luis Garcia Meza a bribe of 1.3 million to lead the operation. Suarez Gomez was impressed with the paramilitary skills of a mysterious German businessman named Klaus Altmann. Double N. Altman displayed such an affinity for intelligence work and interrogation techniques that on Suarez's recommendation, he was given a leadership role in the Bolivian army. Altman in turn hired two young Italians, Pierluigi Pagliali and Stefano del Chiai, sorry, to help plan the coup. Assisting Altman was a group of mercenaries and former Nazis known as the Fiancés of Death? Fiancés of Death? Not finances, right? Yeah, Fiancés of Death, right? I'm not stupid. You can see that card. Wow, this is crazy. On July 17, 1980, the cocaine general seized power. Within months, it was learned that Pagliali and Del Chie were right-wing P2 terrorists with suspected kills on 3 continents. And the mysterious Klaus Altman was none other than fugitive Nazi war criminal Klaus Barbie, the butcher of lions. Barbie, who had sent hundreds of Jews to their deaths, had avoided prosecution when Americans in occupied Germany recruited him as an informer in 1947 and engineered his escape. Barbie was extradited to France, tried and convicted. Paglial was killed when international authorities tried to abduct him to stand trial in Italy for the P2 ordered Bologna train bombing, but Del Chie escaped the dragnet and fled to Argentina. In Bolivia, a reform coalition of cocaine growers and military men ousted Garcia Meza 13 months after the cocaine coup. Dang, dude. So I think it's Operation Paperclip, guys. That's when in the 40s and 50s, basically all the top minds in the Nazi army, the United States hid, and usually in Argentina, guys, in South America. So that's crazy, dude. So just guys, Google Colonel Luis Arce Gomez. That's ARCE. 1980 Bolivian cocaine coup. Suarez Gomez and P2, guys. Klaus Barbie, Google that guy. If you guys think I'm making that shit up, man, Google that motherfucker. Alright, we got one more card to read, y'all. This is titled Death Squad Convention. Death Squad Convention. On the back, it's titled World Anti-Communist League. So, I feel like in every one of these cards, guys, or that I've been reading, every stream, this is the 4th one, and all these right-wing mother suckers are anti-communist because communists cut into corporate profits. You can't get super duper wealthy and exploit people in communism, guys. So that's why the CIA and all these right-wing nuts, they team up with massacre communists or basically any socialist leftist, okay? So we're back with more anti-communist stuff here. Let's read. Founded in 1954 by a group of Southeast Asian drug lords, the organization, now known as the World Anti-Communist League, WACL, went international in 1966 thanks to the efforts of KMT leader Chiang Kai-shek, South Korean politician Park Chung-hee, Japanese right-wing gangsters Reiichi Sasakawa and Yoshio Kodama. We talked about him in the first War on Drugs, guys, or the first part. And South Korean Messiah, Reverend Sun Myung Moon. Former CIA officers assert that the U.S. government, acting covertly through the CIA, provided seed money for the WACL via Ray Klein, the CIA station chief in Taiwan from 1958 to 1962, and later CIA Deputy Director of Intelligence. Klein continued to attend WACL conferences well into the 1980s, and his World War II OSS associate Jong Singlaub became head of the American chapter in 1981. The 1980 WACL conference was held in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Hosting the meeting was General Carlos Suarez Mason, architect of Argentina's drug-financed dirty war against its own people. General Luis Garcia Meza and Stefano del Chiaie, leaders of Bolivia's 1980 cocaine coup, were on hand. At the conference, these men met with paramilitary leaders from Central America to discuss using dirty war tactics in their nations. Mario Sandoval Alarcon, godfather of Guatemala's death squads, and Roberto de Abuison of El Salvador, who had trained at the WACL military academy in Taiwan and ordered the death of Archbishop Romero, also attended. Within months, Argentine advisors took command of dirty war campaigns throughout Central America. Tens of thousands of civilians have died at the hands of the WACL-inspired and U.S.-funded paramilitary death squads and Contra forces since then. Guys, I have a video on my channel. It's only like 3 or 4 minutes long. This guy, Roberto D'Aubuisson, dude, death squad, right-wing fanatical nut, trained by the U.S., guys, and I think the El Salvador Dominguez was his last name. Completely wiped out a small village, El Mozote. Look it up. You can look it up on my YouTube channel. The massacre at El Mozote. 800 people massacred in one night, mostly by decapitation, mostly women and children. That's the kind of shit the CIA, the U.S. government did, and probably is still doing, in South and Central America, guys. So, Roberto de Abuison, Mario Sandoval Alarcon. So, Google those two names, guys. Sick shit, man. Yes, the United States has paramilitary death squads, torture squads, just razing villages to the ground, kicking out people, kicking them off their land, taking the resources, making it into a desolate, decrepit. You got to think about the labor markets, guys. They make it so destitute. They force people to work 5 times as hard for less money, and to work 2 or 3 jobs. To get rich, guys, you got to make people work harder, and that's what. Just don't forget about that. I forget about that sometimes. Yeah, oil, gas, resources. That's one thing what they get. The land, real estate, but don't forget about labor markets. Working people into the ground, making them so weak they can't fight back. What's up? We got Extra Bullet in the chat. What's up, Warren? Uncle Warren is in the chat, guys. Go follow him on X. Go follow his YouTube channel. I love his news videos, live streams. Great dude. But all right, guys, that was part 4 of the war on drugs. We talked about how the CIA blows up planes full of people. 259 people perished. They're in bed with LSD, Timothy Leary. They're in bed with the Vatican, y'all. And they're in bed with Nazis, literal Nazis that they hide, Operation Paperclip. And the CIA finances, trains, death squads. And I hope this lights a fire, turns on a light bulb if you guys are new to politics. And yeah, keep these coming. Education is power, man. You too, man. Love you too. But really cool stuff, man. Just reading this pack of 36 trading cards. And yeah. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got cards 21 and 25 coming up. Let's see. I think we're going to talk about how the United States overthrows governments to suit corporate interests, right-wing interests. Got narco-terrorism coming. Jorge Ochoa. Barry Seal. I think this guy was one of the main pilots of cocaine. Fall Guy and the Snowman and Drug Tunnel. Cool. All right. Well, there goes that. What do I want to do? I think I'm gonna break. I'm waiting on my buddy. We're currently playing a a platformer, an indie game. It's super hard, but we are loving everything about it. So, if you guys are confused why I'm talking about the war on drugs, my name's Game.Film. I speak truth. I speak truth to power. Definitely like educating folks, sharing knowledge, but I play games obviously, so you can check it out on my YouTube channel. I'll keep all my streams up there. So I'm gonna break for a minute and I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna hop back on. So just stay tuned. I'm live on TikTok, X, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch, guys. Game.Film. So you can find me live. I multi-stream all at once. So all right. Thanks, Warren, for stopping by, and thanks for watching part 4 of the War on Drugs. More coming. I think we're gonna have like 9 parts, so because there's 36 cards in this deck, and we're only on